In previous video, we saw how to design database for how to create table and how to add data informations. In this video, we will see about how to connect backend. That backend too, we can retrieve the data from database, and the backend too, we can add the data to MySQL database. Here I created two subfolders, one for backend, another folder for front end. First of all, we need one connector application. Here I installed one pip install. I installed pip MySQL connector. Here I create a file for SQL connection. Here I import the connector. Then I create a global variable equal to none. Then I write the function getSQL function to print to opening MySQL connection. Now here I check the conditions. If connection is none, it connect the MySQL. Then I give here the database information. Database username is root and password is localhost. Then the database is base name is grocery store. Then it return the connection. This connection call from products DAO file. We will see how to it connect the function. This is my products DAO file. Here I imported SQL connection. Then I want to retrieve all the data from database to backend. So I write the function get all product function. This is cursor. Cursor is execute the query. This is database query. Then I create an empty list. Then I using for loop to execute all the product id name uom id price per unit uom name. Then I want to inside the list append all the data informations. So I here write response dot append of dictionary values key with value pass, product id, name uom id price per unit and uom id. Then it return the response. Now I call the function it database to connect and then retrieve all the data. Here I connection. First it this go for SQL connection. This go for SQL connection file. uh, First is it call the function SQL get SQL function connection to it connect the database. Then it call the get all product function. uh, this is get all product function. This function too it execute the all the datas. Now I run the code. It execute all the data information from database to backend. Here all the data are come. First it go to the MySQL connection function to execute opening MySQL connection. Then it retrieve all the data, product id, name, product name. This table informations all are retrieved. Product id, name, uom id, price per unit. That are all the informations are here we retrieved. Now I want to insert new product back into database. So I write the function insert new product function. This is cursor. Cursor it execute query. I write a query for insert query. Insert into products. Insert into this is my table name. Here I write that column products table column name uom id price per unit. Here I don't need to write product id because I give the auto increment value, so I don't need to write the product id. That values are these parameters, the name uomid price per unit. The data are product of product name, uomid price per unit. This is data. It that cursor execute the query and data. Then I commit the connection. It return the last row id to it insert the values. Which id is empty, that return the last row id. Now I execute. Here I change. Here I call the insert function. Now it uncommand here. Now here I give another any product name. I insert flour. Um, I take gram flour. Here I insert gram flour that measured kg. That rupees 50 rupee. Now I execute the code. It write the last row ID. First it call the insert new product function. That products to it show the error. What the error? The error is here value is kg. It's not kg. 2 means kg. Here I give 2 value. Now I execute the. Now I save and run the code. It return last row ID. Which row is next row? It return last row. 18. Next row is 18. Now I go to the database. Here I refresh the page. Refresh the page that print gram flour and price is here printed or not. So yeah, here 18th row. Here printed gram flour and the UIM ID is 2. Unit is 2. That price is 50 rupee. Here print. Then I using Flask server to retrieve all the data and data information to the backend. Uh, Here I imported Flask server. Flask is a micro framework. Then I import a SQL connection. Then here I import. I want to retrieve all the products. So here I import a products file. This is a server. Uh, this is get SQL connection. It this function call from SQL connection. Then I want to get all the products. So here I using get method. Then this is my path. Then here I create one function get product function. Create one variable response variable. The product stuff file to I call the get all product function. Then I JSONify the response. Then I adding one header. Then it return the response. Now I run the server. That server is running this link to I call the this link to I call the get products path. Now I enter that all the data informations are retrieved in the, to the data backend. Delete the product. Here I write the function for delete product function. Um, Here I pass the parameters product ID parameter. I write the cursor here. This is query for delete query. Delete from that products table to product ID. Product ID have integer data type, so I give here string of product ID. I give any product ID. That product ID row fully I want delete. Cursor is execute the query, then connection is committed. It return the last row ID. Now I call the function print of that function name is delete product. Delete product of connection. If I delete here I delete for the third row ID. Third row ID. That name is soap and that UM ID is 1. That price is 20 rupee. Here I give the ID is third ID. Now I save and run the code. Now I refresh this page. Now I refresh this page. See here, third row ID is gone. That row ID is deleted. Now we will see how to retrieve orders table the details and orders table data information retrieve database to backend. Here I import the SQL connection. Then here now I want to get the order details information and order informations. So here I write a function for order details in informations. So here I create one get order details function. Then inside the parameter I pass the order ID. Then this is a cursor. This is a query for order details table. Then this is data. This cursor is execute the query and data. Here I create one empty list. Then inside the for loop I execute the order id, quantity, total price, product name, price per unit. Inside the list I want to append all the data informations. So here I give records dot append of order id, quantity, total price, product name and price per unit. Then I close the cursor. Then return the records. And also I want to retrieve orders table informations. So here I write get the order all orders function. This is a cursor. This is query for orders table query. It cursor execute the query. Then I create one empty list. Then this for loop 2 I want to execute order id, customer name, total, date, time. Inside the list I append all the data information. So here I write a response dot append of order id, customer name, total name, date, time. Then I close the cursor. Inside the record I want to print get orders informations and get order details information. Now I call the function. Now I call the get all order function. It print the all order data informations and get order details information. Now I execute the code. Now I run the code. It's execute the all order table information and order details table informations. If now if I want to insert the data, here I write the function for insert order. Here I write the cursor. It is a insert query. Insert into orders table that column name, customer name, total, date, time. Then it is a order data. That cursor execute the query and data. Then I want to return last row id to insert the values. So here I return the last row id. Then and also I want to insert order details table to insert the query. This is a query for order details table query. Then here I create one empty list. Then that list to I append all the data informations. Then it return the last row id to I insert. Now I call the function to insert the values. Now I command this. Now I uncommand this. Now I call the insert order function to pass the values, customer name and total and date, time. This is these values are passed to the order table. These values are passed to the order details table. If I execute run the code, it stored on the order table and order details table. Now we will see how to retrieve the data to the backend Flask server. Orders table and UEM table data are how to retrieve. We will see. Here I import the Flask server. Here I write the get all order function. Here I want to retrieve the data, so here I using get method. Then I create one response variable. Then that order of file to I call the get all order function. Then that response is I JSONify the response. Then I add the header to return the response. And here I import the orders table, orders dov file. Then I also here I import UOM dov. I want to retrieve the UOM table data informations. Here I write um, here I write the UOM function. Here I using method get method. Here I write the function get UOM function. Here I create one variable, response variable, that UOM dot file to I call the get UOM function. Then I JSONify the response. Here I add the header and return the response. Now we will see how to retrieve the code. Here I call the get all orders function. Here we must the capital letter and small letter, small case, upper case is important. Here I call the get all orders function. Here that orders table informations are we retrieved. Now here I give UOM table informations. Here we retrieve the UOM table informations, data informations. Here I write insert order, how to insert order. This is insert order path. Then here I using post method. Here I create an insert order function. That request here order ID, then order the file to call the insert order. Then I JSONify the order ID. Then I add the header and return the response. If I want to delete the product details, here I write the code for delete product function. Here I using post method. Here I create delete product function, then return ID. The product file to I call the delete product function. Then I JSONify the product ID, and here I add the headers. Then it returns. Next video we will see how to design front end and how to retrieve the data and how to update and delete the data informations.